Over in the AL, I am still very much keeping an eye on Toronto because they are too deep and too much on paper not to make a run. Now, it's tough that they're in the best division in baseball, but hey, Tampa has cooled off a lot. Like you said, don't trust Boston. The Yankees can't hit the damn baseball. So I would say the Blue Jays over on the NL, they are in the playoff picture, but Philadelphia scares me this year for the same reason Philadelphia scared me last year, which is they got different guys going cold at the wrong time, but if all 9 go hot at the same time, I think Philly could jump up in there. And again, Arizona, for a team that's 4.5 back in the division, I really, really like that team. And also, I was promised time to make fun of the Mets, and I didn't get it, man.
All right, you got 10 seconds. Go. Say something funny.
The Mets are the Mets. It's the best thing I can say.
You absolutely, by automatic default, have to bet Russell Henley, at least in the top 20 market. You're getting plus money, plus 115. He's 20-1 to win. It's an automatic bet because you mentioned he has the solid course history here. 3 straight top 10 finishes. Last year he took T5, and I'm not going to overlook a lot of their last tournament that he played was the Open, and he missed the cut. That's a very difficult course. It's a very strong field. The conditions come into play. That course is not Sedgefield Country Club. So you kind of eliminating that out of everybody's bookmark this week. And instead, you have to look at what Henley did prior to the Open, and he racked up top 20 finishes in his last 5 starts, 4 top 20 finishes. He's 8th in the field for driving accuracy. Sedgefield is very much an off-the-tee, accurate ball striker ability. If you look left or right of the fairway, if you miss, you are hitting it behind the tree, sideways of the tree. You're going to have you're going to have a missed mark, and it's going to be very, very difficult. So looking at Henley, you got to auto bet him just because of his course history here.
So the NFL's in really going to be, I think, in a deep, deep spot like this, just this plethora of wide receivers. We're talking about Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and what these guys are going to get paid. Let's not forget that Garrett Wilson, who you might argue is a top 10 wide receiver right now, top 12, could easily elevate into the top 5, maybe even more with Aaron Rodgers now throwing him the football. I mean, think of what Garrett Wilson was last year with an absolute dumpster fire at quarterback. His receiving yards this year is at 1150.5, minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. And I mean, when you're talking about having Zach Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers, oh, I'm with you, Trista. All the way over for Garrett Wilson, somebody who had 1,100 yards receiving and 83 receptions with a complete just trash pile at quarterback.
He's going to have 100 catches. He's going to have 1,300 yards.
Yeah, I think that's more than reasonable. More than reasonable.
I mean, that's just being pretty conservative as well. If he's completely healthy and their offensive line is okay, then he's going to be a monster. I love Garrett Wilson. He's incredible.
But to sit here and talk about Justin Fields as a potential MVP, look, I understand that sometimes we want to find that edge, right? But sometimes people overthink their bets. And we've all done it. I'm sure you've done it. I've definitely done that before too, right? You go down that rabbit hole and you're like, well, if this were to happen and then this were to happen, and if the stars were to align and the universe were to come together at this very moment, this is going to hit. And it's worth putting a little sprinkle on it. I just can't in my right mind justify why you'd waste any money whatsoever on Justin Fields as MVP when it comes to so many other quarterbacks. And we know it's going to be a quarterback. It's going to be a quarterback that wins. There's so many other quarterbacks out there that at least have similar value. I'll be honest with you, Trista. I'd rather bet Aaron Rodgers at 16-1 to win MVP. I'd rather bet your guy Dak Prescott at 16-1 to win MVP. I'd rather bet Lamar Jackson at 14-1 to win MVP than Justin Fields.
Would you rather on a Wednesday, Nick? Mm-hmm. Would you rather on a Wednesday, Trista? Would you rather, little NFL, Trista, will start with you, have Joe Burrow or Josh Allen? Just kind of starting a team with ... Did a lot on this earlier. BetMGM, by the way, for MVP, Burrow at 6-1. Mr. Mahomes, plus 650. Allen, plus 750. Going down the line, Herbert, plus 900. Hurts, 11-1. Lamar, 14-1. Tua, 16-1. Trista, would you rather on a Wednesday have Joe Burrow or Josh Allen as your quarterback?
It's a tough one. I think I'm going to have to go with Joe Burrow. I like his mentality. I like them both a lot. Josh Allen's one of my favorite players to watch. But if I'm talking about, okay, what do I want to do? Who do I want to build a franchise around? Joe Burrow, I think, still very young, only been in the league a few years. What is his 4th year? And Josh Allen didn't come into the league nearly as hot, had to take some time to develop. I just think Joe Burrow is a better pocket passer, better pure passer, better, I would call it, processor of information than Josh Allen. And listen, I love Josh Allen. I like him a lot. It's a very tough question, but I think I go Joe Burrow.
You know my love for Joe Burrow. It's up there. It's not quite Luka, but it's close. I cannot believe it's Joe Burrow's 4th season already. They grow up so fast, Trista. I can't believe it. It was just yesterday. He was a rookie. He's just tearing his ACL, and now he's back. Yeah, I'd go Joe Burrow, too. Hey, look, Josh Allen's great, but what we've seen from Joe Burrow, I actually still think Joe Burrow has a higher ceiling than Josh Allen. Now, I understand you have a little more athleticism with Allen, but I also worry that later in his career that's going to be a problem for him taking hits. We've seen that a lot with quarterbacks over the years, and we've seen what Burrow can do almost right away. I throw his rookie season out because he tore his ACL. Now, he did play a little over half the season, and they weren't great, but to come in right away and get to a Super Bowl his 2nd year, what Joe Burrow has been able to do, Josh Allen can't do. He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't gotten a team to a Super Bowl. He hasn't elevated the Bills to where the expectations actually have been set. And they're fair expectations. They're not over the top. Joe Burrow has been able to do it. He did it faster, and he's just changed the culture of that team even more than Josh Allen did, right? Like, I get it. The Bills have had certainly their losing seasons and their issues over the years, and those Bills fans deserve all the wins they can get. They are great fans. But Joe Burrow's just come in, and he's taken a Bengals team, an organization that was a complete mess and has been the butt of everybody's jokes for a long time, and now made them a Super Bowl contender, literally his first full year as a starter. So give me Joe Burrow.
Would you rather on a Wednesday as we switch over to running backs? Pick one. Nick Chubb, Nick, or CMC? Again, just for argument's sake, obviously, different usage, different expectation. Chubb up there is one of the highest rushing yard total season-long guys, 12.25, give or take, depending on where you shop. Minus 110 each way, 8.5 rushing touchdowns for him as well. Minus 120 to the over, even money to the under. CMC about 900 yards, again, minus 110 each way, 7.5 rushing touchdowns. Who you picking? Would you rather, Chubb or CMC?
I'd go Christian McCaffrey because of the versatility. You can line him up as a slot receiver. You can line him up in the backfield. He can run. He can run the ball up the middle. I mean, we saw that a lot last year. He was running the ball right up the gut for them, too. He can catch balls out of the backfield. There's just now, not that Nick Chubb can't do that to a degree, but it's not to the level of just the extreme talent that Christian McCaffrey has. And the one thing about that I like, too, like if I'm building a team and I've now made one of them my running back, for Christian McCaffrey, you can almost prolong his career because he's not just a pure running back. He's also maybe can evolve to more of a receiver later in his career where you're getting value out of him at 31, 32 years old, and he's just not running the ball as much and taking as many hits. He's lining up as a slot receiver and, hell, maybe even returning kicks for you at that point.
Ms. Trista?
Yeah, it's CMC for me as well. Nick Chubb just doesn't catch any footballs. It's just not what he does. He's a straight line, powerful, in between the tackles kind of runner. A very angry runner, a very strong, hard to take down runner, but it's just a matter of taste for me. And Christian McCaffrey, in terms of what he's able to do on the football field, I just think he's much more dynamic. Now, Christian McCaffrey has more injury concerns than Nick Chubb, and that's a real thing, and he's had those, multiple years now. But ultimately, when Christian McCaffrey is fully healthy, there's almost no one like him. So for me, it's a very easy choice, and it's CMC.
Back to the wagering window. BetMGM for the Offensive Player of the Year has Jamar Chase plus 1,000, Justin Jefferson 13-1, CMC 16-1, Mr. Chubb, the aforementioned, at 18-1, Tyreek's 18, and then we get to Lamar and Justin Fields and Cooper Kupp and Jalen Hurts. Would you rather, Trista, start with you, bet a running back or a wide receiver or a quarterback for Offensive Player of the Year?
Such a great question. I think I'd go wide receiver. I think I'd go Justin Jefferson. He's just a monster. I don't think that this offense is going to fall off at all. No Adam Thielen, just more balls for Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to have a monster year even without Dalvin Cook. That obviously changes their offense complexion quite a bit because they don't have a guy that you can take pressure off of the wide receivers. But it would be a wide. It's a tough decision, but I think it would be a wide receiver for me.
The Offensive Player of the Year award has kind of been the one that they give to wide receivers, knowing that they're never going to win MVP. Like the last Offensive Player year that we had at quarterback was Matt Ryan in 2016. And it's been, actually, Mahomes did win it in 2018. So it's been 4 years since we've had it. But when you really go back and look at it, it's been a lot of wide receivers recently, and Justin Jefferson, and we had Cooper Kupp. And when it comes to running back, there's nobody out there that I really think could have a season like Jonathan Taylor did 2 seasons ago. Like, he was the one that you looked at and said he could actually win MVP as a running back, and we don't get that very much. I don't even know what his situation's going to be in Indy. He'd be the only running back that has the potential maybe to do it. You could argue Nick Chubb, but I mean, you just brought it up, right? Not a great. He's an up the middle. He's a traditional running back. Occasionally he can catch a ball in the backfield, but not really. So for me, it would have to be wide receiver, just given really all the talent, like we talked about earlier in the show, all the talent that's at wide receiver. There's a lot of great young quarterbacks. It's going to be a quarterback winning MVP, and it's going to be a wide receiver winning Offensive Player of the Year.
Real quick to close, and by the way, full credit to Dylan Mitchell for those excellent questions for Would You Rather. Would you rather Nick Bosa or Micah Parsons? More sacks. Right now, depending on where you shop, Bosa's at 15.25, and Micah Parsons is at 13.25. Again, you can get a quarter, you can get a half.
Right.
Over-under. Parsons now a full-time edge rusher.
I think I'm going to go Parsons this year. I think he's motivated, Trista. I think I'd go your guy, Micah Parsons in Dallas. He wants to be an edge rusher. He wants to get after the quarterback more. I think he's motivated after the way the season ended last year for him. So I would take the over on his sacks, and I think he would be the guy to go with here.
Yeah, I think that's right too. And that's why he gained all that weight. He only had 78% of his snaps, 80% of his snaps as an edge rusher last year. So now that's what he's doing all the time. I think that's right. He's up to like 255, 251, something like that. Pounds. Yeah, I like Micah.
Isn't that what everybody wants to get told by a trainer? I need you to gain weight. Oh, thank God. The losing weight part's the worst. I don't want to do that. Ugh.